What's the first thing that pops into your head when I say Chip and Dale? I bet it's these guys! But certainly the second would be those rascally cartoon chipmunks, Chip and Dale. What if I did something like,
I am into nuts.
Good, I love it.
Great stuff.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Today we're covering the Disney movie, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Yes, that Chip and Dale.
This Disney Plus exclusive movie, thank God, is half reboot, half revival of the original Disney afternoon series. It follows Chip and Dale in a world where cartoons and humans live together in society.
How do you screw up a concept like that?
Yeah, they should have watched
Roger Rabbit.
The two best friends grew apart after the original show ended, and now decades later, they reunite to help find a missing friend.
Yes, this sounds exciting, doesn't it? And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, notification will do some future podcasts and more Paws videos.
Oh my gosh, I can't stop laughing. The whole franchise of Chip and Dale, they went back to 1943 when it originally started and destroyed it from the ground up.
Oh! Yes! It's a whole new take here, so, okay.
It's just, yeah. So first of all, we'll tell you that they had the audacity to get a star-studded cast for this movie. They had Andy Samberg, Will Arnett, Eric Bana, Dennis Haysbert, yes, the All-State Man, Keegan-Michael Key, Tress MacNeille, Seth Rogen, and J.K. Simmons.
Why?
And Tim Robinson.
Why?
Yes, and there's a big why. Now, this movie, they actually spent $70 million.
$70 million.
Making this atrocity. And at the box office, it made $623,190.
That means
I think they spoke clearly. They didn't want this, they didn't ask for it, and they're not going to pay to see it.
Barely anybody went to see it. That is almost as bad as Don Bluth's Troll in Central Park, which barely made $7,000.
And what's weird is saying that it takes place in an alternate reality. What?
Why? It was clear Chip and Dale was all animated, wasn't it?
Correct.
So now it's a TV show in live action, but they show it being animated. The characters are animated, but they're filming like it's a live action TV show. So I'm confused. How did you turn into a cartoon when they are cartoons and you're filming live action? Someone didn't think of that.
Well, it doesn't matter because I have to read you guys this because this is unbelievable, but I guess this is just the power of Disney. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers premiered in Hollywood on May 16, 2022 and was released in the U.S. on May 20th, streaming on Disney Plus as an original film. It received mostly positive reviews from critics.
It
with
did.
praise for its humor, voice acting, and meta commentary.
It did?
At the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards, the film won the award for Outstanding Television Movie.
What?
Becoming the first feature film that premiered on a streaming service to do so.
What?
I guess that's the power of Disney.
Everything they make is great when you're Disney. Okay, and we know there are probably some of you watching that do like this movie generally. That's great. And there's no problem if you do like this movie. Please just laugh at our antics reviewing it.
And as I imitate my beloved Goku, good for you!
Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really went in with an open mind to watch this movie. And I remember you weren't too thrilled thinking going in it was going to be a train wreck. And I said, well, wait, let's just see. It might actually be good.
You
10
need to
minutes
stop.
in, I retracted my statement.
You just need to stop having faith in some of these Disney Plus movies. Well, almost every movie seen exclusively on Disney Plus has been a disaster. Live, animated, or a mixture. It has been a disaster. The best thing we have watched as a Plus exclusive has been The Raccoon Short and Hawkeye.
Yes. Now, if there is a sequel to this, that means Disney doesn't listen to
anybody.
Right. Because if it made less than $1 million, and it took $70 million to make, that means don't make a sequel.
Yeah.
Clearly. But let's get into the things that worked about this movie. Well, they did have a good cast of voice actors.
Yeah.
And some live action people who appeared.
Yes, true, yeah.
Some of the animation was good.
Yeah, everyone was in a different style. Not everybody was 2D. Some was 2D, 3D, hand-drawn, claymation. CGI to look realistic, so they used a different mixture of animation.
And they brought back the actual characters, which was easy since they're animated.
Right.
From the original series. I don't know about the voice actors, but
no,
the characters.
No.
And, let's see. And it ended.
It ended. And here's the thing. When this was first announced, it was shown to be a sort of nostalgia type movie. Like, okay, there's this new girl here who loved Chip and Dale growing up and gets to meet the actors and helps them solve a mystery. Okay, it seems a little weird, but you'll find, okay, it's something campy. Don't take it too seriously.
Right.
Well, then as the thing keeps progressing and then you get to the final film, the movie turns into Roger Rabbit-esque. And they kept saying it's a spiritual successor to Roger Rabbit, with them having the cartoons live in society as if they were humans. But it is very odd how they did it here. There's nothing wrong with that concept. I love that. I love that Roger Rabbit did it. I love when Looney Tunes did it. The issue is that they made it way too much like reality. When Roger Rabbit and Looney Tunes did it, the cartoons worked for a studio. Yeah, they existed outside, had jobs and things, but everything they did was like they were still Looney Tunes cartoons, just in society. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers doesn't treat them as their cartoons in society. They're treated like they're minorities in society.
Yeah.
And they make a heavy parallel to that. The cartoons have their own separate city away from the regular humans, like Roger Rabbit did. They had Toontown. They have their own shady black market. They have bootlegs that's like black market and cartoon trafficking.
And don't forget, they can get plastic surgery, so instead of being 2D, they can be
3D. Yep, they can get CGI plastic surgery, and if they really are into the black market, they can change their design altogether to look like other cartoons and rip them off. It's like someone thought this hard to how can a cartoon's life be ruined?
Yeah.
And it's like they kind of took the fun out of the idea. They're trying to ground the cartoons to reality and have how can we hurt the cartoons?
I think a real big indication of how terrible this movie ended up being is the shout outs and references
everywhere
got more attention than the movie itself.
Yeah, and part of what people want to be the most fun about the film. How many cartoons and movies could they recognize? And here's the kicker. It's not just Disney properties. They go to Cartoon Network, they go to Nickelodeon, they go to live action movies, and if it's movies they don't like, they don't use their real names. Like they have a thing against Fast and Furious and said there's too many dang movies, they need to stop to the point where they have babies in charge.
But if they could have 10 sequels for any movie,
right,
Disney would do it, so I'm sorry.
And they also,
that's hypocritical.
Right, and they also don't like E.T. or Batman because E.T.'s too nostalgic and Batman's too dark and gritty.
No, it's because their franchise, their studio didn't make them and they didn't make the money. There's the truth.
Right.
They didn't have any input.
Right.
And they didn't make any money, so of course they don't like it.
Right.
But I think the ridiculous part for me is some of the jabs they were taking, as you explained to me, from people that actually worked for them.
Yes, and to a point where if they didn't like certain shows and movies, they wouldn't even dare mention their names. They would just say they were bad. And it was stuff they owned. They would constantly show them off on screen, all of them living together, and either they were making bank off their residuals from their shows still airing, or they were thrown to the trash like live action stars. Then it got to a point where you thought when what was his name? Provolone Jack. When he went missing, they thought they had the guy that really kidnapped him, and they called Sweet Pea. And Sweet Pea, spoiler alert, is just grown-up Peter Pan who let himself go badly. And at first it was an odd choice, but then the movie went on. He explained why he started doing a cartoon black market bootleg scheme was that Disney let them go because the character somehow was aging. Even though he's a cartoon, he was aging. Yet the Lost Boys remained the same age for almost 100 years.
Right.
And when he got older, Disney kicked him out and he couldn't get work in other cartoons because he was aging. They wanted him to stay Peter Pan. And the cynical part about this is that this actually happened to the real Peter Pan. I think Peter Discroll was the man who played Peter Pan, and this exact thing happened to him. Disney fired him because he got too old to play Peter Pan live action, so they fired him, and he couldn't get work anywhere else because of his contract, and people only associate him with Peter Pan.
Which back when that time happened, I've read and seen in documentaries, for some reason, that was a big thing that happened. Once a person was attached to a role, they couldn't get any other work, which right now we see as being ridiculous,
right?
Because people are multifaceted, but back then, yeah, it could be the kiss of death.
Right, and that's what happened with him. It got so bad, he drunk himself to depression and died alone. And this is not us making this up. People have researched this and saw this is true, and he died. And the movie quotes him where it said they threw him away, but they use his story as if, no, he was the villain because he didn't get over and get a life. He couldn't do anything else. He literally was locked out of a job. But the movie treats him as the man was the villain, and they use his likeness and his words to say, well, he was a bad guy from the start. You shouldn't feel sorry for him. And whether that was intentional or that's what they wanted to write for a villain backstory, either way, it's so cruel. It's so cruel and mean-spirited that's what part of what turned a lot of people off from the movie when they actually started watching. The fact that they put this in this film rubbed people the wrong way, and some of them didn't even finish it after that. They were just kind of like, you really went and spit on the man's grave doing this.
And for some reason, they thought this was comedy. Now, I don't know whom this movie's target audience was.
I don't know.
It clearly wasn't kids. It couldn't be kids with all the references and that you just talked about being in it, and one getting plastic surgery, and them being older adults, and
having
just the
insurance.
the way that the movie presented itself. There was no way this was directed at kids.
No, they claim.
And if it was directed at kids, then they need a new ADR director.
Yeah.
Somebody who understands what younger people want, because it sure in the hell, excuse my language, is not this movie.
No.
And it was just a really bad investment, a really bad project. Again, if you like this movie, fantastic. But again, this was not for younger kids.
No.
There was no way in heck this movie could have been made for younger kids.
And then they claim, oh, it's for people who grew up watching Chip and Dale, the TV show.
Not me.
But they can't, because the entire lore has changed. The show was real, apparently, and they worked their way up like real celebrities. So what are you talking about?
But you also have to remember, again, Chip and Dale originally premiered in 1943.
Now they came out in the 80s.
Which version are you talking about?
Right.
Because the ones from the 50s, from 53, that grew up watching them probably aren't around. And from 59, they could give a crap ass, I'm sorry, about Chip and Dale. And me, this is not my Chip and Dale. So, again, who was this movie made for?
That's a good question. Yeah, we really don't know who the target was. And for the ones who partially enjoyed it, they just liked all the references and stuff they could point out. And granted, we did have a little fun doing that too, recognize some of the cartoon movies they were doing. And the worst joke in here was Ugly Sonic. Apparently they had permission to use Sonic's old design. Everybody hated to the point where he was a meme. And now Ugly Sonic has a career in being ugly. And the whole thing is like they're in on it. They said, you can't hurt my feelings if I'm in on the joke. You're not hurting me. So it's like they're saying, yeah, you made fun of him, but look, he's doing way better than that. You made fun of him so much, he's got a career off of being hideous. But the character isn't real. Who are you getting back at? Did someone take this personally?
I'm not sure, but I'm not tell you this. This was a failure, not only at the box office, but for anyone who watched Chip and Dale, regardless of the decade, or as a movie, or as a TV show. However, this was just a failure. How it got an award, ask Disney.
Right.
And again, if you enjoy the movie, let us know why in the comments below. We'd truly be interested in knowing what made it enjoyable for you, because we simply just can't see it.
And we're not cynical or anything.
No,
it's just, this didn't come off as fun. It came off as almost they were kind of making cartoons realistic and had them go through just as much issues as real people.
They were desperate to find a project that worked, because again,
it was
they
a little
could have
serious
watched other animation, live action films that worked.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Roger Rabbit being the biggest one, or the first one that comes to mind, but there are others that absolutely work. Even darn Chipmunks work.
Yeah.
Which
they made fun of, like, who wants to be a chipmunk, and said, you actually tried to audition to be one. They were hated them, but you're trying to be one.
So, again, they didn't do their homework to make this movie work, and they say that the box office tells the story. Well, with $600 and some $1,000 on a $70 million movie, the box office spoke loud and clearly. This movie was not wanted, and no one wants a sequel. They said they'd be interested in making a sequel if it's successful. Well, it means we should see one, and I'm grateful for that.
Right.
But if you've watched Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers movie, because that's how we're going to differentiate in 2021,
Right.
let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you actually like it? Again, if you did, let us know why. If you didn't, do you agree with some of our comments, or do you have other reasons that you found it not to be enjoyable? Let us know what you think. And if you want to see it, it's available on Disney Plus. You can probably find it free somewhere. They should be giving it away with purchase.
Right.
I don't know.
And we're not
If
going
you even want to watch it, unless you just want something to really make fun of and ridicule, then we recommend this is a movie you should watch.
Right. And we're not going to get into Gidget marrying a fly and having 30 kids with him. We're not going to mention that. So, if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos of your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching. Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace and pass.